Put it in the slot.
Put it in a slot.
Now let me review this whole thing.
Jesus Freak here, representing for EvilAvatar.com. In this reviewable, we're taking a look at the first DLC pack for Fable III, the Understone Quest Pack. Players familiar with the series will recall that there were only 2 DLC expansions released for the previous game. The first was Not Whole Island, which added a fairly sizable area to the game world that contains several side quests, weapons, player items, lots of good stuff. And even though the enemies were recycled, the island's weather-changing mechanic made for some interesting puzzle-solving aspects, and it effectively tripled the number of environments you got to explore. The second expansion, See the Future, ended up being pretty disappointing. While they did try to do some interesting things with like the restoration of color to the village and having to use wardrobe changes to complete quests, the Colosseum was pretty much just a rehash of the Crucible, and the pack overall offered very little to justify its cost. So how does the Understone Quest Pack compare with those two value-wise? Unfortunately, not so well. Even at a cost of just 400 Microsoft points, I'm hard-pressed to explain why it will be a good investment of your gaming dollars unless you're just a die-hard Fable completist. The expansion contains 3 new quests, 2 of which are actually challenge levels more or less identical to what was in Fable 2. The third and main quest, titled The Voice, is where the meat of the new content lies, and it actually has some enjoyable parts to it, so let's talk about that one first. The quest starts off at a factory in Bowerstone Industrial where the owner complains about a mysterious voice that's constantly echoing throughout the building. He asks you to try and find the source of the voice and opens a trap door that opens into a huge cavern that runs beneath Bowerstone. As you progress forward, the voice speaks to you, warning you that all mutant activity is forbidden and that your continued presence there will trigger the alarm.
An intruder has been detected, possibly a mutant from the above world. Intruder, if you go any further, you will trigger the security system.
It all sort of has a Bioshock vibe to it, and in fact there's quite a few similarities between the two that have me smiling on more than one occasion. The alarm system ultimately turns out to be a seemingly endless stream of skeletal hobs. These are the same ones that you encountered in the Miss Peak Valley monorail battle, with one new addition, a skeletal wolf that intermittently blasts you with lightning. So the quest is pretty much just walking along a fixed path, approaching an underground village, fighting wave after wave of hollow hobs. There is one very cool encounter at the end where a new enemy is introduced, but I don't want to spoil that for anybody. Suffice to say, the Bioshock comparison is again thoroughly reinforced by the new combatant. Altogether, the main quest took me about 25 minutes to complete, start to finish, and that includes the time it took to make the final moral decision you're faced with, and to watch the related cutscenes. So yeah, very short. I thought maybe there would be some additional quests that open up in the underground city once I completed the quest, but so far nothing has popped up. The next quest is the shooting gallery, and again, this one isn't so much a quest as it is an almost exact duplicate of the shooting range from Fable 2. You win prizes for beating the high scores, including a new legendary pistol and rifle. There's really not a lot to it, so I got bored with it pretty quick and moved on to the final quest, or rather challenge, the Wheel of Misfortune. This is the exact same mechanism that you ran across during the first encounter with Reaver in his mansion, only this time you're competing to earn the highest score and unlock prizes. Again, this is pretty much the exact same thing as either the Crucible or the Colosseum from Fable 2. You fight various enemies across a number of rounds, getting higher points by building up a combo multiplier, and then killing the enemies as quickly as possible. I actually beat the required maximum score on my first time through though, so I haven't gone back to play it again and probably never will. Unless you just really enjoy the combat of Fable 3, I suspect you're very likely to do the same. And that's it actually. It took me less than an hour to see everything new the pack had to offer. Afterwards I kept looking around the quest list thinking maybe I'd missed something, but no, that was it. So yeah, not a lot here. The main quest was fun enough while it lasted, and the boss fight was really a nice change of pace, but it went by so quick I'm hesitant to recommend it to anyone except maybe the most dedicated Fable fan.